Welcome to the Floored-U-Cation podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We're here to talk with contractors from all across the country about the issues that matter to you. This week's guest is a returning guest. It's Ken Ballin. Ken owns and operates Skyro Floors on the Jersey Shore. We spend our time discussing different social media platforms and their uses to help you grow your business. Ken Ballin, are you on the line?
I am, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back to the show. First repeat guest.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be back.
Always. It's always good talking with you. It definitely happens outside of the podcast here, but always a pleasure. So you're back. Welcome to Floored-U-Cation, and just because you're back doesn't mean everyone knows you, so let's get that background history.
All right. Well, I'm Ken Ballin. I own Skyro Floors, and I am based out of the Jersey Shore by Long Beach Island area, and I do custom tile and luxury flooring installations.
Okay. And you are CFI, CTI, and anything else?
I am CFI 13604. I am CTI 1392. I have, being an advocate of training and industry involvement, I've done all the manufacturer trainings and Schluter and Ardex and Weedy and all that good stuff.
I'll tell you what, I know for a fact that if there's a class put on, Ken is showing up and attending it, and I find it amazing. I don't know how he ever gets installs done.
Yeah, me neither, man. We just did the Stone Peak training, actually, the super format, up at our local Best Tile in Lacey, and I think that was the last seminar I've done, but that was cool.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see that take off. Those super large format tiles are going to be just monsters to deal with, but the guys that are trained and ready to go are going to have a huge leg up when they really catch on here in America.
Well, you know what? And that was kind of my thing with taking the classes was I think I've done, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 of them. I went up to Ardex Academy and did the decking training with Ardex. I did the laminum training with Bostic, and Stone Peak with, I think they had Latacrete there. But yeah, and each time, we get a good group of guys out, and it's a good way to, aside from, seeing the products and training with the products, you get to talk to other contractors and, other local guys in your area that are in the kind of the same boat that you are. And it's a great networking opportunity.
Always. It's huge. You really need to get out and get to know the local guys in your area, guys across the country. Just have those resources to pull from and bounce ideas off of. If you're stuck in your own little world, then who knows where you're going to be able to get to. So let's dive in here, and you had thrown it out to me through the new Floored-U-Cation page that you would be willing to talk to social media or about social media, and we, a lot of us know that you're big on that. You've been running your Instagram for a while. You've got your Facebook feed. You're involved in some of the local community groups, and what really threw me for a loop recently was that you were like, TikTok, it's all about TikTok. And I was like, what is he doing? Like, that's for like little kids. and you came along and you kind of explained like, well, yeah, that's now, but give it 10 years, 20 years, and they're going to have buying power, but this format will still be around. And so,
well, and you know what? It's funny you say that because everybody said the same thing about Facebook when that first came out. Oh, it's just for the students. It's just for the students. Mm-hmm. And, about the same thing about Instagram. Oh, that's just for the kids with the pictures. And, now everybody is trying to play catch up with their Facebook and Instagram. And it's just the same thing. You have to stay fresh on new platforms because what if something happened tomorrow and Facebook and Instagram shut down? Well, where are these people that have been paying attention to you, to your work and what you're up to? Where are they going to get information that they want? So, you always have to keep your eyes peeled, keep, your ears open to new platforms and new outlets, and, not just be closed-minded to shut it off.
I agree. 95% of my business comes through Facebook. So I would be in a world of hurt if that, model shut down. If that service shuts down, I'm screwed. I'm going to be going and begging a store for work. And
well, you're going to be going to, work on your TikTok account.
Well, that's going to be happening too, but I got to get income in the meantime. So, it's been interesting, and I know like the average age of Facebook users continues to go up. And so it's like 45 plus now, which is great. They have buying power. They're able to remodel their house, but that's not everything. And so there's Instagram, which is like a generation under that. There's Snapchat, which is a generation under that. And now you've got TikTok, which is like a generation under that. And it could be that TikTok, I've seen that name around for probably a little over a year, but that doesn't mean that's the platform that's going to stick, but it's not necessarily a bad thing to be participating in it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what do we as contractors, you said you need to keep up on it and things like that. So what do we need to do as contractors to get involved and participate in these communities as they grow and mature? What do we need to be doing?
Well, you know what? It's so much more than just, posting a picture of your work. It's how you interact with others. It's how you talk. It's how you promote yourself on these platforms and, in life in general, because I am very easy to get along with. I'm very easy to work with. And I try to come across that way on social media because it's part of building your brand. And I'm huge on that, building your brand and making sure that, everybody knows kind of what I stand for. Mm-hmm. And, I like to think that I'm consistent across platforms and in person, that, this person that you see on social media that you interact with is going to be the same person that, you interact with in person or over the phone or something, and it just, when we were kids and our parents talked to us about behaving yourselves and, being kind to others, that same thing just transfers to how you behave online. And you just need to make yourself appealing, not falsely. Like, if you're not an appealing person, don't pretend to be, but mm-hmm. It's just another opportunity to, again, build your brand, spread the image that you're trying to promote about yourself.
Correct. And I think you need to be really aware of what you're posting, where you're posting, how you're posting. Like you said, if we want to, if we're nice and we want to portray that and let people know that it's safe to come and ask us a question, and we're not going to be that guy that's going to be like, oh, you're so dumb, I can't believe you don't know that. You have to be careful in how you post everywhere. You can't just be one way on your small space. When you go and reply to others, when you comment on somebody else's work or to a potential client, that's all there for everybody to see. They can search you. It's been put there. Unless you're going to go back and delete your comment after 5 minutes, you really need to be careful about what you're doing. And even if you delete your comment after 5 minutes, somebody could have taken a picture.
Well, and I was just going to say that. Even if you delete that comment, you don't know who saw that while it was up. So we need to really be aware of what we're doing at all times. And, it just, I keep, you're going to laugh. I keep going back to, what our parents taught us as kids. You treat others how you want to be treated. You behave, accordingly. And you can't just, put on this image and be super hypercritical of other people and expect that to come back. You get back what you put out into the universe,
mm-hmm. No, I 100% agree. When you are putting a ton of garbage out, you're going to get garbage back. And
That's exactly what you're attracting.
and an example would be, like I said, I get a lot of my work through Facebook. So I'm constantly in the community groups replying to people that need help with flooring or looking for flooring. And there's a standard of probably 20 companies that all participate actively in that world. So there is a gentleman in my area that will get called out time to time for not being a licensed contractor or doing some shoddy work. And then somebody else comes along and says, well, I was told by, this client that this happened. And he engages, and not in a kind way. And there's swears, there's calling people idiots, there's trying to defend himself, there's trying to come up with excuses as to why they haven't fixed it yet. And it's not how he gets any work through social media anymore is beyond me. And so you really need to be careful what you say, but even more so, you need to make sure you take care of your clients.
Oh, absolutely. Because, one client, a happy client will tell you about a friend. An unhappy client will tell 10.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's always been that way. You go look at reviews. How many good reviews are generally left? Whereas the minute somebody has a bad experience,
oh yeah,
it's posted up right away. You see those 1-star, 2 stars all the time, and these companies struggle for 5-star reviews.
Absolutely.
It's really sad, but people are going to be way happier to be disgruntled than they are to actually be happy.
Yeah, and you know what? I kind of think, and I see the opposite side of that too, because I kind of like seeing that, because to a degree, I think it helps us be aware of what we're doing and helps us raise our standards, which I think is important. Mm-hmm. I never like to see anybody, get that bad review, but I do like to know that it happens so that it gives that person a chance to do better, and maybe they don't know that they're not installing up to par. Maybe they have no idea. And, that could be the person that, would benefit from, maybe a conversation from a qualified professional. So I see that stuff all the time on my local groups. And I would say 95% of my business is from local Facebook groups right now. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing any sort of advertising. And it's really from just participating more than posting about what I do. I rarely post anything saying, hey, I'm Ken Ballin, look at me, I own Skyrock Floors, hire me, I'm great. It's more of, oh, this person's looking for an electrician. Hey, my buddy Ian is the electrician. I use him on all my projects. All my customers love him, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, now my buddy gets a referral, and I look like a resource now to these people. So aside from being a contractor, I've become valuable, and I've given them value in pursuing a relationship with me through social media. These guys that get these negative reviews, my first instinct is always to reach out, and my response is, maybe that's me. I have a big mouth. My family's Italian and Irish, so that's probably where I get it from. But the first thing I always say when I see somebody kind of taking a beating or they post some work that's kind of subpar, I say, hey, man, I see you doing this. I'd love to sit down and talk tile with you for a little bit. Let me buy you a beer. Because pursuing it like that, in that manner, where you're not saying, oh, you suck, you can't do this, you've given us a bad name, that doesn't give that person any sort of value. It doesn't make them feel any, it doesn't do any good. Mm-hmm. And I really think that, and it's happened a few times where I've seen it and I've said that. And I've actually met with these guys and they're like, and I've invited them to our groups, our forums and everything like that. And they're like, dude, I had no idea. And you kind of turn a corner with them. Yeah. And, it's good for everybody, because the more people doing good work, the better off everybody is. And you're always going to get the guy that thinks he knows more than you, and you can't save them all. But if I can reach out to that one person who's early on in their career and save them the mistakes that I see them making, then, I don't mind taking the time out and kind of steering them in the right direction if they're interested in what I have to say.
Yeah.
That's not saying that I'm the end all be all of anything. And I tell everybody, I'm nothing special, but, I kind of feel like I have at least a grasp enough so to tell them, hey, listen, this is how we do this. This is why we do it. Hey, you know what? I got an extra TCNA handbook in my shop. Why don't you come over and grab it? And, I'll give you some, I don't know, whatever I got laying around. If there's extra trowels, if there's T-shirts, I keep a bag of free stuff that everybody always sends me in my truck. So if I run into anybody, I'm like, oh, here, I got T-shirts, take them. But, you kind of show people that they're not alone out there, that, we're here, we're listening, we see your work, and we want you to be successful. We don't want to, just see you put out this shoddy work and, lose your reputation. I want to see everybody succeed, Well, and it's just,
it's such a different perspective.
And it just, treat others how you want to be treated. I know it's cliche. I know it's, silly, but, I really try and do that in all facets of, my life and my business. I think that, the more positivity we put out into the universe, the better kind of place the earth will be.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think there's a lot of good points in there. And so first I want to say you take a very different approach to how trades have generally been looked at and businesses are looked at. Everyone's generally gets caught up in it's competition. You're out there trying to grow your quote unquote competition so that they have similar standards and qualities as you, which brings up the entire industry as a whole. That's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's
absolutely.
We
rise by lifting others.
Correct. And so I think that's a great approach, but you also brought up how to get kind of, we're veering and I want to try and correct us. So, you brought up how you'll make recommendations. You want to be a resource to these people in these groups and to your clients. You want to be that trusted advisor. That's old school social media. When you're out networking with your peers in your area and I have a great electrician. I've got that awesome carpenter. I know that you have a guy that does amazing fences in your area. You're out building relationships with people outside of tile. And that's huge because, like I said, that's old school social media. You're out networking and building relationships with people that like, and trust, so that when your client says, I need this done, you can say, I've got a guy that does that. They're going to come in. They're going to make it happen.
So, absolutely. But what it also does is it also gets them to ask that question. Well, thanks for that referral. What do you do? Mm-hmm. And now you're in,
Yeah.
So it opens up dialogue between people that I always joke around, Boondock Saints, Norman Reedus says, we're like 7-Eleven. We're not always doing business, but we're always open. Mm-hmm. I love that idea, that mindset. I know it's a goofy quote from a movie, but it's true. You're always thinking about marketing. You're always thinking about how you look to others, and you just become invaluable in this process to people that may not have been otherwise interested, currently with what services you offer.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so, and they may not need it now, but in 6 months, a year, 5 years down the road, they're going to need it. But you've proven in other aspects how reliable your resources are. Why shouldn't you be just as reliable? You've worked on building that relationship, and that's the key. I mean, social media is called social media, but now everybody just wants to post. Here's my lunch. Here, I went over here. I walked my dog over here. I picked his poop up over here. Here's a picture of this. It's not social. It's just media. And so you have to actively work at building that social aspect of it. You need to actively build the relationship with the people you're interacting with. You can't just flood them with content There needs to be purpose behind it, explanations. You need to get them engaged with it.
Well, and you know what? There's kind of another side to that because, I'm big on the use of social media to develop your business, but I'm also big on not paying attention to likes and not paying attention to followers. A great person to look for on social media is Gary Vee. And I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. And if you listen to some of the stuff that he posts in his Outlook, typically the language isn't safe for work. So, maybe put the headphones in on the podcast, on the post and the videos and stuff. But he's big on, not paying attention to likes, not paying attention to how many followers, and just flooding content on all your avenues. And, each format is great for different audiences. While Facebook is my biggest for, homeowners and stuff like that, Instagram is great for contact, getting into contact with other contractors and manufacturers, where LinkedIn is great for LinkedIn. Actually, both LinkedIn and TikTok are great for mass organic views of your posts, that are free. And, anything that you post up there has a chance of going viral because you're not, it's just a different sort of algorithm than the other platforms.
Okay.
So the more you focus on different kinds of posts for your different platforms, the more successful you're going to be with your reach.
Okay. So you can't, just because one thing works in one place, it's not going to work every place. And so we have to break it down and look at, this works on Facebook, this works for Instagram, this works on TikTok, this works on LinkedIn, and we've got to come up with the formula that works for us. So since you've been doing that, what formats are kind of working in what areas?
Well, I'll tell you, for local work, local referrals, your biggest bang for your buck that you're going to see the most immediate results on are your local Facebook pages. We have a local Facebook page that is on, like I said, I'm on the Long Beach Island area. So we have a local recommendations page, and the sole purpose is for people to come on, say, hey, I need a tile guy, I need a plumber, I need a painter, and other members of the group can say, oh, I use this person, they're fantastic. Or business owners can say, hey, I own this company, shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to come out and give you an estimate. Most of my business right now comes from that page alone, not my personal posts or my business posts on any of my platforms. Now, if I'm trying to look for builders or look for manufacturers to kind of say, hey, look, I'm using your products, or hey, look, this is what I can do, and you don't really have anything like this on your previous post, let's hook up and see if we can get together on a project. On Instagram with the builders, they're big with, you can shoot them a direct message, and, it doesn't have to be so overly involved and thought out. It's just, hey, check my page. I do this, and, I'd like to meet up with you and talk about future projects. And I've probably landed, I'd say 2 or 3 good builders through that method alone.
Okay. And then, so that's Instagram. We can build relationships with other contractors, builders, and manufacturers, reach out, learn about products a little bit easier, kind of showcase our work. Really, that's going to be more pictures and trying to develop a relationship in that aspect from a professional standpoint.
Yeah,
Facebook is reaching out directly to your audience. Okay. And then where are we going? Like LinkedIn, what are you using LinkedIn for?
LinkedIn is, and I've had a LinkedIn page for a while, but I really haven't been using it to its fullest potential. But, after I found out that it's a similar way to get posts out as TikTok, where it's, totally random and organic, and you can reach a ton of people without paying for a post. I'm really trying to do more on there, but typically LinkedIn is more business relationships, as opposed to, I'm not going to get a job directly from, LinkedIn from a homeowner, but I might be putting myself in front of a few big manufacturers, a few big builders, a few local business owners that we can pursue business relationships with.
Mm-hmm.
But it may not be something, hey, I got this bathroom to redo. Can you come over and give me a price? Because that's not, I don't see that happening necessarily in that manner directly.
Okay.
But there's definitely potential how, you post differently, post pictures, videos, in different formats. And things kind of react differently to different people. You may do a dozen posts this week that have they haven't gained any ground, they haven't gotten any attention, but then you put this one up, Saturday morning, you came over to, I don't know, do something silly like route a backsplash and talk to Kyle Heaton for an hour or so. You just catch the right person's eyes at that point and it takes off. You never know. It's always about putting content, keeping yourself in front of the eyes of others, and giving positive feedback.
Okay. And so then where are we going with TikTok? What are you trying to do there?
TikTok is, I will still say that I'm fairly new to TikTok. When I first started posting to it and I started an account, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it. I saw there were really only one or two guys on there that had anything to do with tile specifically. So I kind of saw what they were doing and I was like, well, I kind of dig that, but I don't really like that. It was heavily on the person. Like it was their face on the camera. I was like, well, that's not really what I want to do with it. And then the other, maybe the dark side of TikTok is what the kids are doing with it. And, if you can, as a contractor and somebody that's trying to use a platform for something good, I find myself with these random videos that come across, you hold your thumb down on the screen and say, not interested, not interested. So you can kind of weasel through the nonsense and get it more formulated to what you want to get out of the platform. But I think my favorite thing about using that platform in particular is that I can shoot a short video of whatever project I'm working on, and I can link it to my Instagram. It'll share it directly to my Instagram account. Okay. My Instagram account is linked to my business Facebook page, so it'll share directly to my business Facebook page. And then from my business Facebook page, I can share to online groups. I can share on my personal page. But it's a great tool to edit short videos and use them for marketing on your website or anything. So it's not necessarily about, I'm posting to TikTok for TikTok, views, or TikTok, I'm going viral today. Like, no, I use it more like I can edit this video, I can add music, I can kind of add a little bit of my personality, and I can share it across all platforms.
Okay. And no Snapchat?
You know what? I kind of missed the wagon on Snapchat. I think that it's kind of taken a dive in popularity, especially since TikTok has come out. Snapchat kind of came out in a similar jest as TikTok, but I think they've just been bypassed. I think it's a dead platform right now. They may still have users that use it and love it, but I don't think it's gaining any ground like TikTok is right now.
Interesting. I will say that is the famous Brad, Team Brad is he's all about the Snapchat. That's where him and his friends hang out and do things. I've heard recently of a realtor that does nothing but Snapchat as their platform and is selling homes like crazy in their area. So
you know what? And it could very well be a regional thing. I think that's awesome that, a business owner is able to harness that platform and use it to their advantage. That is absolutely incredible. And I love hearing that.
It's, I think it comes down to it being more, you've got to find what fits you. And I love that you are on 5 different platforms out there, just making it happen, doing your thing here and there. I've tried to get in the habit of using my Instagram. I just can't do it. I spend so much time working and doing the Facebook thing that, and then I've thrown this on top. It's hard.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you mention that, because what I'll do, and it doesn't take a large amount of time. Like you take a TikTok video and it's maybe 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So take the video during the day, leave it on your phone. When you get home at night, type some. What I do is, because certain platforms have limited characters that you can use. So TikTok, you can only type, I think it's 125 characters.
Okay.
So I will write the same 5 hashtags or whatever on every post, and I try to get one that is appropriate to what I'm working on, but maybe can be taken across genres. So it'll come up in another search. So the perfect example that what I've been doing is, on my TikTok videos, you'll see that I hashtag my last name, Ballin.
Okay.
Now, we all know everybody says my last name wrong, and we all know why everybody says my last name wrong. And there are millions of videos online that have my last name as a hashtag saying it wrong, but it still comes up in the search.
Yes. Now,
so now
that's
by
genius.
by tagging my last name in my post, I'm coming up in millions of searches across the internet simply because of a mispronunciation.
Well, we're not all as fortunate as you, sir.
Yeah.
We can't
what
all
I'll
be
do now is
Ballin, okay?
Well, what I'll do is I'll take that post and I'll go into my Instagram before I post to TikTok. This is where it gets a little tricky and finicky, but I'll go into an old post on my Instagram and I'll copy and paste. You're allowed 30 hashtags on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can joke all you want about hashtags, but the true purpose of a hashtag is a search function.
Yes.
So you have 30 opportunities to reach out to somebody and get them to pull up your post in a search. So I'll copy and paste that Instagram, the 30 hashtags that I have on every post, and I will go back into TikTok, set it to share directly to my Instagram. Once the Instagram comes up, I'll copy and paste the hashtags into the Instagram post, and then I have my Instagram set up so it shares directly to my business Facebook page. So it's literally 5 minutes, and I'm on 4 different platforms with the same post.
Okay.
Now, I might do something where it's platform specific, and I don't want to, I might shoot a goofy video for TikTok and just leave it on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And just see what it does. I might have something where, like, I want to post some sort of, material is on sale this month. I might put that on my business Facebook page, but I'm not going to do a TikTok video about it. I'm going to just leave it on the business page, and then I can share it directly to the groups that I'm active in the community.
Yeah.
So there's different things, but if you're looking for the quickest, most bang for your buck, I would do exactly what I said about copy and pasting your tags from Instagram, sharing the talk directly to Instagram, directly to your Facebook page. It's 3 platforms right there in about 30 seconds.
That's quick and easy. It's not even okay. So you can be in multiple places within minutes. And
Absolutely,
and getting yourself
you could
out
do
there,
that while you're on a toilet at home.
There you go. Okay, so what else do we need to be looking at? We've talked, okay, so we can get it posted in multiple areas quickly. We need to make sure we're representing our company in a way that makes us look professional. The way we need to present ourselves, the way we want to be viewed. Like you were saying, whatever we want to put out is what we're going to get back, so we need to be aware of what we're posting. What other things do we need to consider when we are working with social media?
Well, I think the most important thing, and there's always going to be somebody there that talks smack. And I tell everybody the same thing. I tell my kids that. I tell everybody I interact with, you're doing something right if somebody's taking the time to talk smack. And that is the biggest, that people lose interest on social because of, being criticized or fear of what others think. And I tell everybody, if I cared what others thought, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning. You just have to do you, be yourself, put out interesting contact that people like, and you interact with people online the same as you would face to face. I never treat anybody differently in person than I do on social media. Mm-hmm. And it just goes back to being consistent. If you're consistently good, if you're consistently interesting, and you consistently concern yourself with others, you're going to get good things out of it. If you're a negative person and all you do is talk smack and put out negativity, well, you're going to get this reputation of being negative, and nobody's going to take you seriously.
I think, I'll be honest, that's been the hardest part for me in my business, is I am a pessimist by nature, and it's been hard to overcome that, to run a business and be positive and have a positive outlook. And it's been a lot of books, a lot of videos, and just trying to actively change this mindset so that it can be positive. Because if you're trying to run a business and you're a pessimist, boy, you better just go back to working for somebody, because it's never going to work. You're
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's funny because if you looked at me, I'm 37. So if you looked at me 15, 20 years ago, I'm an entirely different person with an entirely different outlook than I was at that time. Mm-hmm. And, it hit me that, and I keep saying the same thing, and I don't mean to be repetitive, but if you get back what you put out into the universe, it's absolutely true. And if you want to lead a happy life, then you need to put out positivity to everyone else. There's no way around it. You can't be negative and expect good things to happen. It doesn't work like that.
No, not at all. It doesn't. I don't remember where I heard it. I know, but it's been coming up a lot in a lot of the things I listen to get my education in daily. And it's, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with most. So,
I love that. Love that.
If you are hanging out with trashy people, it is. And it's true. A lot of guys, they want to build a business, but they continue to hang around with the crew that they came up with. How do you build a business? You gotta cut them loose. Correct. I mean, it's not that there's anything wrong with those guys. They can be great guys. But you need to go find the people that are 2-3 steps ahead of you and get them to mentor you. And then you're going to have that group influence you and change your mindset so you can get to that level. And when you reach that level, you need to be looking 2 to 3 levels ahead. I do a networking group. I'm part of BNI, Business Networking International. And I spend my Thursday mornings there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, trying to build relationships with people and help promote my business. Recently we had a guest. He runs a big construction firm, and I really, really enjoyed talking to him. I would love to reach out and be like, hey man, would you be my mentor? Problem is he's 15 steps ahead of where I want my business to be. And although I think he would probably agree to do it, you don't want the guy that's 15 steps ahead of you necessarily. It's not going to be a good fit. But I am going to have a conversation with him and be like, hey man, this is what I really want. I think your business is a little bit further ahead of me right now, and you're probably, displaced from remembering those times. Do you have any of your other subcontractors that are in this position that you think you would be a good fit for me? And so you can still use this network of people that you're meeting and find a way to make it work for you. And then you can find your mentors, and you can find the examples you need to be able to get to that next step you're trying to reach.
I will agree with that to a point, but let me just say this. What are you losing by not asking him?
Oh, no.
What is the worst that can happen? Reach out. I hear this all the time. Like, oh, I don't want to bother you. I'm not, you know what? I get phone calls. I get messages. I get interaction from other contractors nonstop. And, that's not to say that, again, I'm nothing special. I have no more talent than anybody else in the room. I'm just willing to take the time to sit down and talk to somebody that reaches out to me.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody that messages me, for the first time, and they all say, "Oh, I'm so sorry to bother you. I understand if you don't get back." That gets me every time. I understand if you don't want to talk. I'm like, dude, really? Like, talking is kind of that's like what I do. But I would never tell somebody, no, you're not worth my time.
Correct.
So my point is, like, take the time, reach out to that contractor that's 15 steps ahead of you. Reach out to Mike Holmes on Twitter. Reach out to, Josh Temple on Instagram. Reach out to these people in a DM. And, what's the worst that can happen? They don't answer you, big deal, But what if they do?
Correct.
What if they take the time and say, wow, you're something special. I'm going to invest my time in you. And you wouldn't have had that opportunity otherwise.
Correct. I 100% agree with you. I'm not saying I'm not going to reach out to them and try and build that relationship. It's more like, I guess the best way to explain it is, if you are the stock boy at Wally World, you don't go talking to the CEO. You've got a couple of steps in between, and you can. But how much time does the CEO have for you? Just because you show interest, you're a million steps ahead of everybody else because you showed interest. And I'm not saying it's wrong.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm getting at.
And so, but there is steps in between. You can try and make that connection, but your direct manager is probably a better stepping stone. So,
and he's probably going to be pissed you went over his head too.
Well, I mean, maybe a little bit, but I'm not saying don't reach out for those connections. They can be golden, but don't necessarily expect them to have a ton of time for you, because you're not dealing with the same lifestyles and the same
you're
mindsets.
Absolutely right. So don't be let down.
Correct. So from that's the perspective I'm saying. Like, you may want to only be at somebody 2-3 steps ahead of you. As the stock boy, your direct manager and, the store manager are probably your go-to people. Work with them if you want to find out how you can become a regional manager. Those are going to be the people you want to interact with. And then when you get to that store manager position and you deal with the regional manager and the territory manager and all of that, you can start looking above
Well, and they're
that.
also more accessible too.
Exactly. How much, that's exactly what it comes down to, is how much time does that person have for you? The CEO is busy running around dealing with a million other things. He can't necessarily tell you, like, you should take statistics this semester so that you have a better understanding of the numbers in the store. He's past that. He's got people to handle that for him. He's making bigger decisions. So it's totally, you reach out to people, grow relationships, find mentors. You need to put yourself around people that are going to help your mindset. Like you said, if you're garbage in, garbage out, build brands all over the place, which is a whole nother thing. Like you said, you just got to be honest in your branding so that people aren't getting one thing one place and another when they show up. Man, we covered a lot of content, dude.
I told you we got some stuff to talk about.
I know. Oh, okay. How's that backsplash?
Well, I'm on final way. We're good.
Okay. I just all through about every couple of minutes, I'll hear a bucket dip.
Yeah, if you hear me out of breath, it's because I'm actually grouting while we're talking.
There you go. How's the, let's see, I want to say the bottom right corner. How, did that turn out flat and smooth? Your helper did a good job over there?
You know what? She really, she killed it. The homeowner was highly impressed with her, abilities that were clearly passed down through genetics. If those that are listening can't tell, it was my daughter. But yeah, she was,
good.
She was kind of stoked to be.
It looked like she was.
She got a
having
kick
fun.
out of me telling her that she got a kick out of me telling her that the homeowner was thrilled with her craftsmanship.
Awesome. Yeah. No. So anybody that doesn't know, this episode will come out nowhere near where this happened. Ken had to pick his daughter up from school because of an emergency in town. There was an active shooter, correct?
Yeah. They had
So, yeah.
some fun stuff going on.
Yeah. So he pulled her out of school and brought her to the job site and put her to work because you got to earn that room and board.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing's free.
Nope, not at all. So she learned some skills. She earned her food for the night, and apparently your client was thrilled with the craftsmanship she has. So there you go, wins all around. I would say, let's talk a DIY tip, but I think this entire thing is the DIY tip. We can't, I don't know that we can help guys out more than that. Like, we just talked about how to use social media to your advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, really, if anybody gets anything from this, I keep saying I'm nothing special. I don't have all the answers. I'm not any more talented than any other tile setter in the room. But if anybody ever needs to reach out with any questions, or feel free to, my phone number is plastered all over the internet. Call, text, DM, anything. I'm happy to answer questions. Please don't ever feel intimidated to send a message, because that's how you get your questions answered.
I agree. Same for me. The emails at the end of the episode. You can look up Illustrious Hardwoods on Facebook. In fact, like I said, I get most of my work through the Facebook groups. If you go and look at my Illustrious Hardwoods page on Facebook, my format's really simple. I post pictures of a job. I explain what happened at the job. If I encountered a problem, I talk about how I solved it, why it was a problem, and I tell a story about the job. People love stories, so it's something they can relate to, instead of just, here's a bunch of pictures of of carpet. It got torn out. LVP or engineered wood went in, and now it looks different. It doesn't mean anything.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And that point actually, slipped my mind while we were in conversation. But if you take, it's not just about carpet and post a picture, LVP, post a picture. Throw in 3, 4, 5 lines of text. Throw in a paragraph explaining what happened. What was an obstacle. How you overcame it. People love to see the pictures, but they also like to hear the story behind it. And if you take a few minutes, not only does it paint a picture of what was going on, but it makes you seem more personable and, more approachable. They're kind of at a point viewing your social media profiles where, they'll say, oh, wow, I remember this. I get customers now that will reference projects that I've posted months ago, mm-hmm. and say, oh, that project you posted this. And I remember posting it because I posted it, but they'll recall a detail that I posted that I kind of forgot. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I did say that about that job. And it kind of gives you, that little extra, bit of information about the project. But once people start referencing your projects to you, it kind of puts you on a whole other level. It's not about them and their project. It's kind of like they recognize you and your skill, and they see what you can do and want you based on that, and not the price that you give them.
Totally. And it's not, you don't have to put text on every picture. You can, in the main body, when you post it, just keep it simple. Use that KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. In the main body, right where it says write up the post, just a quick paragraph about it. I used to write novels, and I've scaled back because it doesn't do as much. So, but definitely putting it in. I just finished a job. I did a living room and a set of steps, and then the hallway in the upstairs, the landing area, and the homeowner, she had followed me on Facebook for 2 years. She wasn't active. She didn't comment and like a lot of stuff, but she was like, we've been following you for 2 years. You're the only person that was ever going to do this. And I am. I'm the only person that went out and bid it. They let me know within 5 minutes of me sending the estimate to book it and order the material. I got an email back in 5 minutes. And so it's out there, guys. You have to build these relationships. I didn't even know I had the relationship built until I showed up and started doing the job. And she was like, oh yeah, by the way, we followed you for 2 years. What?
Well, and that goes back to posting regularly on all platforms. and putting out good content, that they knew you because of what you were doing, and you had no idea you were appealing to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that person that sees that post may very well be saving it in a saved folder for when they can afford the project. Maybe they're not doing it for a few years, but they're going to save that post, and they're going to say, oh man, this is the guy I want. This is the guy I want. We were talking earlier about me running into a buddy of mine the other day, and he was talking to a friend of his who was handling a renovation for a customer, and they offered to take care of the tile work. And the customer says, no, I'm saving up my money for a Ken Ballin. And I said, what? And he says to me, dude, how did you do that? I was like, I have no idea, but it's awesome.
Right. I had that same feeling. She was like, oh yeah, we've been following for 2 years. Like, you were the only one. We just called you up to get the bid, and we were going to do it no matter what. And I was like, darn, I left money on the table.
Yeah. Oh man, I could have shown you more.
But I wouldn't have. Honestly, that's actually going to be a whole different topic on an upcoming podcast. But it felt good. It felt really good to know that, like, I was the guy. And I think that's all what we're all working for, is that we want to build a name and be known for what we do and respected for it. And you in that one instance, you got to be the guy. And it's an amazing feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
So, all right, sir. Man, always good talking with you. We could record one of these like every day and just talk about anything, but people might get sick of us. So
yeah, I'm not that entertaining, so I'll keep my appearances to a minimum.
Okay. Well, you do get to see your name in print again, though. So there you go.
Yeah. I love that you keep referencing that comment.
Oh, we will. It's never gonna. You can't let it go. You did it to yourself.
Oh, that's funny.
So thank you very much for being a guest again, Ken. And I am sure we will come up with another topic in the next 6 months, probably.
Sure, absolutely, man. Anytime.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. That's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to subscribe so you can listen to each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest or have questions, you can email us at flooreducation@gmail.com. Remember, your education never stops.